What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome to another video. This is the first time I'm actually uploading on time for a change. It's currently 9:14 p.m. on Wednesday the 4th of October. And yeah, we'll start with the daily Dixie, and you'll see that we traded right down into that fair value gap just as anticipated, but we didn't get a reaction from it, so to speak. We did trade down to the 50% level. You can see we traded just past it. However, we haven't actually expanded away from it. We actually started consolidating around it, which says to me that we're likely going to probably see an expansion lower tomorrow. These three candles create a swing when we have a formation like this with a high, a higher high, and then a lower high, and a large down close like this. It hints to a turn in the market, which would then inspire a push lower and likely run into this wick here, this wick's range. And then we also have this fair value gap, which I've delineated here. Now, we haven't actually finished the day yet. I think we still have a few hours left. We actually have 3 hours left, so I don't want to speak too soon. But so long as we close down, as in this is a down close candle looking similar to how it looks now, then I'd be convinced that tomorrow we'll likely want to see an expansion lower. So as soon as we get that opening candle, as soon as price starts trading above that opening candle, I'd be looking for shorts on dollar, which means longs on pound and euro, for an expansion to the downside. So we'll drop down to the 4 hour, and I'll show you that what I have my eye set on. I now have my eye set on this as tomorrow's sell side liquidity target, as I believe this is where price is going to want to draw to. And then again, this delineates that fair value gap on the daily, which price will likely want to trade to, where there's also no order block. I'm not really going to try and predict any further than that, purely because remember, if this light blue box is the monthly fair value gap, so I don't know if price is going to want to continue to respect that. But overall, tomorrow I'd like to see an expansion lower and a run into the sell side liquidity, and again that daily fair value gap that we have delineated here in red. But yeah, it was nice to see that price done just as we anticipated in terms of pulling down to that 50% level. But this is what I mean by a consolidation. I did say in yesterday's video that if once we trade to this, I'd want to see us expand up higher and run up into this buy side. But heavy consolidation like this, the fact that we're spending so long within the fair value gap says to me we're likely not going to want to expand out of it for now. And like I said, that would mean that we'd then want to see lower prices and a continuation into that south side liquidity resting there and this order block here. So we'll see tomorrow, but that's generally my expectation. If we go to GBP, we can start with the daily as well. And you'll see that GBP came down, grabbed stops, failed to take out the south side liquidity. If you watched yesterday's video, I said I wanted to see price trade up to the 50% level off the fair value gap and then trade away from it and come down and take that south side liquidity. What happened was we actually traded straight down, taking out these south stops, and then we expanded higher. The fact that we've taken out south stops on GBP and it hadn't had a big expansion like this, again says to me higher prices on GBP, and now I'd expect to run up into this buy side liquidity above this swing high. And depending on how affluent we're going to be, a potential run into this buy side liquidity up here, but we'll have to wait and see with that on Friday and Thursday. But overall, if price closes like this, that will be supportive of higher prices for me. Let me drop down to the 4 hour, and you'll see we have this inversion fair value gap. Why is it an inversion fair value gap? Because the price traded on the downside and then the upside, and I've drawn that out through, and I want to see it continue to act as support. Yes, we can whip through it, but we can allow for that. And you can see our price is kind of just sitting on top of it right now. You can see we traded down back into this fair value gap. We did fail to trade back to this swing high, which would have been nice to see, because that would have been a breaker. But you see that we didn't actually trade to it, unfortunately. But yeah, so long as price stays above this inversion fair value gap and above the 50% level, I'm expecting an expansion to the upside and a run into this buy side liquidity, and we have a nice 4 hour fair value gap right here. And then above that is that buy side liquidity I was talking about, and this is a weekly fair value gap, I believe. No, this is just a 4 hour fair value gap, but again, depends on how overzealous price wants to get. We have relative equal lows relative equal highs here, which is beautiful, that price is going to want to draw to. But again, this is also long as price continues to consolidate and show support around here. If it goes higher, again, this would be market buy model in terms of accumulation, distribution, secondary accumulation would be here, and then I'd want to see more a continuation, a distribution up here, and then depending on how we look at the markets, whether we either have a continuation to the upside or we have a reversal, and then we'll see the delivery down into that sell side liquidity. But overall, again, so long as this 4-hour inversion fair value gap continues to show support, I want to see us run into this buy side liquidity and this fair value gap resting here. I've marked out this is Monday's opening price in the dashed line. So yeah, I want to see our price gets to that. What happens when we treat it? Should be able to find support on top of it, and again push up into that buy side liquidity here and potentially up here. Now let's go to Euro. Same on Euro, to be honest. Euro fails to take out lows, which shows a little bit more strength. GBP was the only one to take out lows today. DXY failed to take out the swing high. GBP took out the low, and Euros failed to take out the swing low. So there is that sentiment of a, a turn in the market. It's just GBP is the only one to have actually managed to grab the stops, which is quite interesting to see. So if we look at Euro again, I'd expect an expansion to the upside, running into these highs here. But let's drop down to the 4 hour so we can have a better look. I've drawn out the inversion fair value gap here. You can see we completely filled it to pretty much to the pip, and you can see our price is just consolidating within that now. So what I'd like to see, again, if price continues to respect and stay within the fair value gap, then I'd like to see an expansion upwards. We have this fair value gap here that I'd like to see get filled, and then after that it would be these relative equal highs here and here, and then potentially up to here. But again, obviously it depends on how busy the Euro wants to get and whether we actually want to reach all the way up there in the first place. But overall, I would like to see this fair value gap here get filled. So I'll just draw that out like so. And also you'll see that Euro traded into a breaker. We have a low, a high, a lower low, making this the breaker. So we've actually traded down into that, and that's why I'd expect a nice expansion upwards into this fair value gap in the new day. Here's a consolidation. Again, accumulation, distribution, secondary accumulation. Then I'd like to see some more distribution happening in this fair value gap. But like I said, if we do get overzealous, price will likely trade higher and want to run into these relative equal highs here, and then distribution would get let out above the relative equal highs resting up here. But like I said, I'm not very sure as to how active tomorrow is going to be, but we do have non-farm payroll on Friday, which is something to consider for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much everything, guys. Thanks for watching. You'll see it's very interesting because you need to take into account how my bias changed, because like I said, I wanted to see us come touch this 50% level and then move higher. However, the fact that we've consolidated at this level says to me that we've expanded lower, we're consolidating, so we're likely going to want to continue lower now and run into this south side liquidity. If it wasn't for the consolidation, then it would be a different story, but you can see as we came down and touched it and expanded higher, and now we're just kind of consolidating and staying within that fair value, within the fair value gap respectfully. It's likely going to want to see a continuation lower. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. Do we have a breaker? I guess we technically trade into a breaker, high, low, higher, high, and then we've broken lower. So I know it's a bit crazy, but this is a breaker, and you can see we traded to that and we moved away from it. So it's respecting bearish PD arrays. That's what we're seeing happening here. Obviously, if this trades above, then if this does trade above, like back above this swing high, then in that case I'd expect this swing high to get taken and a potential run into this buy side. But yeah, I think I'd like to see low prices and see the sell side liquidity get grabbed, and then potentially this low. But yeah, that's everything, guys. Thanks for watching. This has been GBP Baby, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.